You paid in your whole life. Now they're telling you your reward is a $50 raise while quietly jacking your Medicare premium by $22. That's not help. That's a scam. And millions of Americans are waking up to it. But tonight, today, whenever you happen to be watching this video, everything changes because President Donald J. Trump just pulled the pin on a plan that they never saw coming. It's bold, it is strategic, and it may be the biggest Social Security fix in decades. And the kicker, it's hidden inside what they're calling this big, beautiful bill. Now, while career politicians stalled, while the Fed dragged its feet, and while Biden's inflation crushed retirees, Trump didn't just talk about it, he moved. And now we have proof that his plan could put real money back in the hands of the people who need it the most. But not everybody's happy about it. Some Republicans are stalling it. Globalists are panicking, and the media, they're silent. So today I want to go ahead and break down how President Trump's bill claws back billions in wasteful spending, how it exposes the Medicare trap that nobody seems to be talking about, and why this move could set the stage for the biggest shift in senior citizen benefits in a generation. So before you collaborate, before you celebrate and, saying, hey, we're getting this big, huge COLA increase, I want you to keep watching, because that COLA increase might not be exactly what you think it is. Because by the end of today's video, you're going to understand exactly why your Social Security checks still feel like a joke, and how President Trump's fix is actually turning the tide. So you earned this, guys. You were promised this, and now finally someone's fighting to make it right. So I want to get right into it. Oh, if you appreciate the news updates, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're receiving Social Security, SSI, SSDI, survivor benefits, let me know in the comments down below. Now, I want to go ahead and say this part loud and clear. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, after 4 years of broken promises, spiraling inflation, and bureaucratic gaslighting under the Biden regime, Americans were suffering under a system that treated them like some afterthoughts. You remember what that felt like, don't you? Grocery bills that made you jump, flinch, rent that doubled, medications you had to ration, kind of like cutting your pills in half. All that Washington could say about this was, oh, be patient. Be patient. Well, that chapter of our life is hopefully over now. Today, we're entering a brand new era because President Trump didn't just talk about fixing the system. He went straight to the rot and started cutting it out. And buried inside of what the media is mockingly calling this big, beautiful bill is a fix that they never thought that he was going to be able to pull off. But before I go ahead and break that down and the massive economic move, let's look at the illusion that has fooled millions of Americans into thinking Social Security just got better. So here's what they're announcing right now. The 2026 Social Security cost of living adjustment, the COLA, is projected to come in at around 2.7%. Sounds okay, right? They say this means that the average recipient will see about a $50 monthly increase in their Social Security check, right? So basically the average person should get an extra $50 monthly increase in their Social Security checks. $50. After everything you've lived through, guys, they want you to celebrate 50 freaking bucks. Now, I'm not trying to sound ungrateful, but put that into perspective, okay? Gas is still hovering near $4 in some states. Grocery prices are up over 20% still since 2020. And Medicare, oh man, we about to get into that. But ask yourself this, does $50 a month really feel like justice? Does it feel like a fix? Or does it feel like a slap in the face with a smile attached? But hang on, guys, hang on. It gets worse because you're not even going to be able to see all of that $50. Why? Well, what takes it away? Well, let me tell you about that. The very system that you paid into. I know it doesn't sound like it should, but let me tell you real quick. Sharon Bertusik, she lost her Medicaid coverage. She was terrified. All of a sudden, the safety net she thought she had was gone. Her medications, her doctor visits, her entire healthcare situation was tied up in the air. But then she found Chapter. They helped her get a Medicare plan with $0 premiums, 0 prescription costs, and her copay dropped from $89 to just $20. Guys, that's real savings and real peace of mind. Guys, it's stories like Sharon's that really made me want to partner with Chapter, because they don't just talk about helping people, they actually do it, and they do it for free. So if you're looking to save some money on your Medicare, give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Seriously. I mean, it's totally free. There's no obligation. There's no pressure. And these are just super friendly people who literally they'll just answer your questions if you just have a question. All right. I left the number down below. Phone number is 909-563-8279, or visit them on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. There's help, guys. You just have to take the first step. All right. So here's the real gut punch here. While they're parading around the so-called COLA increase, about $50 more per month, they conveniently forgot to tell you what's happening on the Medicare Part B side. Because just weeks ago, the 2025 Medicare Trustees Report quietly confirmed this. Medicare Part B premiums are projected to rise from $185 to $206.50 a month. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a $21.50 monthly jump increase, which means for the average retiree, nearly half of your Social Security raise or Social Security increase is gone before you ever get to see it. Let me say that again for those who were not listening in the back. You were promised a $50 bump. You were promised a $50 increase. $22 of it disappears before you even get to see it into Medicare premiums. This is going to end up leaving the average person with less than $30 extra to survive the most inflated economy in decades. Now, I know, inflation has come down, but we're still dealing with a lot of the aftermath. That's not a huge benefit. That's like a financial sleight of hand, like a magic trick. Like, here's $50, but not really. They gave it with one hand and they snatched it back with the other. And so you need to ask yourself, who's really winning here? Because it's not the people who work 40 years, paid into the system, and just want to be able to afford their medication and, have a stable place to live. So anyway, all the more reasons why I would definitely call Chapter and see if there's anything they can do to help you out. So this brings us to a bigger problem, guys. The one that nobody in legacy media dares to address. Right now, over 74 million Americans depend on Social Security. This includes retirees, disabled workers, survivors, people who earned these benefits not through handouts, not through, what do they call them? Entitlements? No, not through any of that. Through decades of labor. This is what guys, and what's the average amount being collected in Social Security benefits today? Would you believe it's just over $1,860? So just under $1,900 a month. Does that sound about right to you guys? $1,900 a month for Social Security benefits? Now, for new beneficiaries, that has jumped to $2,000 a month. This is the highest it's ever been. But here's the cold, hard truth. A $2,000 a month really doesn't go that far. Not when rent alone can eat up over half of that, depends on where you live. Comment down below where you guys are watching from today. Not when groceries are sky high. Not when you've, been left with having to decide between paying for prescriptions or paying your electric bill. So let's not get it twisted, guys. Millions of the most vulnerable Americans, the elderly on fixed incomes, are trying to survive on far less than that. And so this is why people are angry. This is why trust is breaking, because the system isn't broken by accident, it's broken by design. So here's a twist they really did not expect. Because while the media wants you distracted by small raises and some quiet takebacks, President Trump just slipped a powerful fix into law, and it's already shaking Washington to its core. So now let's talk about the big headline that they barely even mentioned and the fine print that they definitely did not mention. Because while everybody was arguing over the COLA percentage and throwing confetti over a $50 raise, kind of like a fake $50 increase, Trump was busy delivering something far more substantial. Inside the big, beautiful bill is a brand new senior tax deduction, $6,000 for individuals and $12,000 for joint filers. Now, here's the thing. This isn't just for Social Security recipients. It's for anyone over 65 years old, 65 years old and older. So whether you're collecting benefits or you're still working part-time, this deduction could mean real savings, possibly even hundreds or even thousands of dollars off your tax bill. Sounds great, right? But hang on. If you're lower income, if you live off of just Social Security and you don't file taxes, let me know if this is you get nothing. That's right, guys. This brand new deduction, this brand new tax deduction is worthless to you if you're not required to file. So once again, the middle class, they benefit. The poorest seniors, the ones most in need, they're left out. You paid in for decades, right? And now you're too poor to benefit from the help. That's not oversight. That's strategic. That's structural neglect. And so again, we ask, who is the system really designed to serve? But here's where things really flip. And this is where the fix finally starts to take shape. Because while that deduction might not reach everybody, what did Trump do next? Well, what he did next really did help out. Now, quietly and efficiently, President Trump worked with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, to go line by line through the federal budget and uncover some of the most wasteful, bloated, and downright insulting spending you've ever even heard of. Guys, I'm talking $3.6 million for some male prostitutes in Haiti. What? $3 million for condoms in Zambia? $500,000 for electric buses in Rwanda? $1.1 billion for PBS and NPR? $7.9 billion for random foreign aid programs? And Trump said, enough. So what did he do? He clawed back $9.4 billion in total spending. He rechanneled it into domestic priorities, our economy, our seniors, our people. So while DC insiders panicked about upsetting global aid donors and public broadcasters, Trump stayed focused on you. He didn't just say America first. He put it in the budget. Strategic brilliance, guys. Patriotic execution. And for the first time in a long time, seniors are actually starting to see someone go to battle on their behalf. Now, before I forget, don't forget to join our breaking news our free breaking news newsletter down below. Zero spin, zero ads, just the updates that really matter. I left a link for you guys down below in the pinned comment. Now, I want to talk about the engine that's powering this fix, because cutting waste is just one step. The real genius is how Trump is building long-term protection for Social Security without raising taxes or printing more money. Now, President Trump has already locked in a game-changing trade deal with Indonesia, one of the world's fastest growing markets. Here's what he did. He opened full U.S. access to Indonesian markets, and in return, Indonesia pays a 19% tariff on everything that they send to us. So that means we get their copper, their goods, and we get paid every time it crosses our border. That's revenue, guys. That is massive revenue. That's not debt. It is not inflation. It is not higher taxes. This is smart leverage, and it's funding America's future. But that is only one piece. The Trump administration has also triggered a massive private investment wave, unlike anything we've seen in modern U.S. history. I'm talking $92 billion just committed to Pennsylvania alone, focused on AI and energy. Over $15 trillion in total private capital is now pouring into American manufacturing, new factories, new supply chains, new jobs. And that means millions of Americans entering high-paying work, contributing to the economy, and strengthening the Social Security Trust Fund from the bottom up. It's genius. Now, this isn't just about benefits. This is about building an economy where fewer people need them to survive. This is the structural fix that nobody else was bold enough to attempt, and not a whole lot of people are talking about it. So now I want to kind of zoom out for a second, because for years under Biden and even administrations before Biden, the government played a very cruel game. Inflate prices, offer a COLA raise, then jack up Medicare premiums and fees to take it all right back. We've seen this pattern. Every year, you get a check that's just big enough to be newsworthy, but never big enough to really make a difference, right? Well, that's not policy. That is propaganda and BS. But what Trump is doing here, he's not chasing inflation with some gimmicks. He's cutting it at the source, slashing the reckless spending, replacing foreign giveaways with American investment, redirecting tariff profits to fuel domestic priorities. So let me ask you again. Do you want inflation checks that disappear, or you want real reform that lasts? Because Trump's fix doesn't rely on Washington's broken promises. It actually relies on results, and they're already starting to pour in. All right, so now we need to talk about the fight that you were never supposed to see. Because while President Trump is clawing back waste, making smarter deals, and rebuilding our economy and our economic base, there's still one man standing in the way, and he's not a Democrat. I'm talking about Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Now, Trump calls him too late Jerome, and here's why. Even as inflation dropped to 2.7%, Powell refuses to cut interest rates. Even as tariffs fuel government revenue, Jerome Powell will not budge to relieve America's $1 trillion debt burden. That resistance is costing us billions every single month in higher interest payments on the national debt. That's the money that could be helping you, or maybe even stabilizing Social Security, or even boosting your Social Security check for a bigger Social Security increase. Now, Trump knows this. This is why the Treasury Department has now confirmed the formal process to replace Powell is underway. I don't know if you guys heard me. Guys, President Trump, he knows what is happening, and the Treasury Department has just confirmed that the formal process to replace Jerome Powell is underway. He's out. The era of delay and deflection is over. Trump's message is clear. Get out of the way or get replaced. And once Powell's gone, interest rates will fall. Debt costs will drop, and the path to long-term Social Security stability, it's going to get a whole lot stronger. So here's what we're looking at over the next decade if Trump's full plan continues to roll out. $3 trillion in projected tariff revenue, $15 trillion in private manufacturing investment, millions of high-wage jobs replacing foreign imports, a lower debt load from smart interest rate cuts, energy independence, meaning cheaper fuel, cheaper goods, and more predictable inflation, and most importantly, a stronger Social Security and Medicare base than we've had in a generation. This isn't politics. This is a blueprint. And it's already working. So while others passed the buck or pushed some phony fixes, Trump rewrote the rules. He didn't just protect seniors, he built a system to make sure your benefits don't vanish with the next crisis. So let's strip everything else away. The bills, the bureaucracy, the media spin. I want to get brutally honest here. We were promised a system that would take care of you. You paid into Social Security, you followed the rules, you waited your turn. And after decades of hard work, what do you get? $50 raise, a $50 increase, a $22 deduction, and a polite pat on the head while they send billions to electric buses in Rwanda and radio shows that nobody listens to. Come on, guys. That's not a safety net. That was a setup. And for years, under past presidents, under Biden, under career politicians, that has been the game. Dangle benefits with one hand, rob you blind with the other one. But now something's changed because Trump's big, beautiful bill just did what nobody else was willing to do. It went after the waste. It ended the foreign freeloading. It redirected the cash back where it belongs, into American hands. And more than that, it laid the foundation for real reform. Stronger benefits, lower inflation, less debt, and a system that's actually built for you, not for foreign interests, not for bureaucrats, and not for the media. So here's the question. Do you want more Band-Aids? Do you want more fake COLA boosts and increases that disappear in your Medicare bill? Or do you want the real fix? Because whether you love them or hate them or still aren't even sure, only one president has stepped up and actually gone to war with the system to give you your dignity back. And that's Donald J. Trump. Now, if this message hit home, share this video with someone who deserves to know the truth. Drop a comment, I want the real fix, or tell us, how would you fix Social Security if you were in charge? I want to hear from you. And don't forget, YouTube thinks that you're going to really enjoy and love this video next that just popped up. Click it now because the next chapter in this story is even bigger. I'm so glad you guys are here, and I'll see you on the next one. Be safe.